Good morning or good day to everybody, and welcome to our next interview with the amazing Les Watson. And I'd like to introduce you to Les, who has over 30 years of training experience, and he's worked extensively throughout Australia and Southeast Asia running dynamic training programs that have produced measurable results for large corporations, small businesses, and individuals. So you've certainly been busy, Les.
I have indeed. It's great to be here, Nori.
Yeah, great to have you. And I see you've got heaps and heaps of knowledge and skill that you've accrued over the last 30 years as a trainer, speaker, and facilitator in self management, motivation, and communication techniques. Is that
It,
correct, Les?
that it is, and it's been a journey. So it's been a wonderful journey. And over the next X amount of minutes, I'm going to explore and unpack quite a bit of it around the productivity and time management, because my promise is I can give you back an hour a day. So let's head towards that.
Yeah, fantastic. So I see you're nicknamed the Time Lord.
You want to know where it came from?
Yeah, it'd be great. Please tell us.
It was business cards. It was the start of Get More Time, and we were doing business cards, and we were thinking, well, anyone can be a manager and anyone can be a director. And at one stage, I was a go-to guy, and I went, no. And being Christians, it really came to the point of prayer. We kind of laid down on the bed at the end of the night and said, it's got to have something to do with time, Lord.
Mm-hmm.
And we just laughed ourselves silly. It couldn't be anything else. It's got to be Time Lord, and that's where it came from. So it was Time Lord, and I walk into places and people call me Time Lord. Old Time Lord's here, and Les a Time Lord. And yes, I do like Doctor Who, but I don't have a sonic screwdriver, and I do have a scarf.
Okay, great. It's amazing the way God talks to you and you open up that window for him to do so, isn't it?
Indeed, indeed, indeed.
Yeah. So just before we get started, I've got a few questions that I wanted to run through with you. Can you tell us a little bit about yourself, where you're based, and where your clients are that you work with? That'd be fantastic.
Based in Geelong, Victoria, Australia. Clients are worldwide.
Mm-hmm.
Got a client in Switzerland. I've got a client in Denmark. I had a client in Germany, etc. So it's worldwide and all around Australia. And I'm located here in Geelong. So a lot of the work that I do is on the east coast of Australia. With the advent of COVID, I always said to myself, I'd really like to do my stuff online. And of course, COVID allowed me to do that because I couldn't do anything else. So I'm able to do it via Teams and via Zoom with as much punch as what I used to do in the room, or what I'm doing in the room. And it's enabled me to hone that to the point where my international clients are asking for the material that I do, whether it's on productivity or time management or leadership, to do it via Zoom or Teams. And as long as you know how to do it and make it punchy, they can get as much out of it as it would be in a room.
That's awesome. So you cover quite a bit of an area for people, especially in leadership, that want time management and want more time back, because it's so crucial in business today, isn't it?
It is. And I always say that we all want to lead, even if it's just leading the dog. And you kind of laugh about it, but we actually are leaders. I was having this thought today around leadership, where if you're running your life, you're leading your life. You don't actually throw it to somebody else and go, can you lead my life for me, please? Can you get me out of bed? Can you get me in the shower? Can you clean my teeth? Can you make sure I have 3 meals today? That's a leadership aspect that you kind of go, well, is that really leadership? Yes, it is. Because if you ramp that up, if you accelerate that, what it enables you to do is go, for it to be, it's up to me. And particularly when I'm dealing with a vast array of different people, whether it's individuals wanting to lead their life or small business owners wanting to run a business, all the way through to corporate, where they're wanting to do $1 million deals. And it does come down to, as a leader, how do you create results? As an individual, how do you create results? How do you be the leader in your life and create the results that you want to create, as opposed to get to the end of the day, the week, the month, and the year and go, oh, it didn't happen again, and just do the whinge, bitch, moan, complain. It doesn't work that way. A lot of the people that I work with, a lot of the people that I hang around with, they are front-footed people, and they say, if it's to be, it's up to me. If it's going to happen, I'm the one that needs to make it happen.
Never truer words were said. No. Yeah. So tell me, how can we reduce meeting times and increase their effectiveness in business these days?
Just dive straight in. I just go straight there.
Yeah, I want to. I want to go straight there and tap into that knowledge you've got and all that expertise.
How many of us have meetings on meetings on meetings on meetings, and we come out the other end of the meeting going, oh, it's another boring meeting, or oh, that didn't hit the mark, or oh, I wish I had have kind of not been in that meeting. And I have 4 key things with meetings. The first one is have an agenda. And someone once said to me, I heard this is not mine, no agenda, no attender. And I've gone, that's awesome. So have an agenda for your meetings so that as you progress in your meetings, it's according to what's on a sheet of paper or what's on an agenda. What happens in that regard is you keep to the points on the page, as opposed to going left, right, and center, and it's going all over the shop, and you run out of time and you don't make the points you want to make. So have an agenda, put the agenda out in advance, so that people know what they need to bring to the meeting and can speak to the relevant points for them in that meeting. So that's number one, have an agenda. Number two, start your meetings on time. So many times people kind of amble in at whatever time. Oh, I'm sorry. The greatest thing in a meeting room is, oh, I'm sorry I'm late. Oh, I'm sorry about that. It's like, no, it's not good enough. There is, you look at I'm about to go back to Europe and Denmark, and on the way back, I'll come via Japan. Japan's commuting, their rail system, their systems run by the second. So if they're 7 seconds, 10 seconds late, they will stand there and apologize for it being tardy. So that's the degree with which they go. And it's like, for some of us, we don't care as much about time. And in a meeting sense, the amount of wasted time by a meeting not starting on time is huge. So based on that, if you are the leader of the meeting, start the meeting when you said it was going to start, and remind people that the meeting time starts at a particular time, so that in the next one, they will kind of go, oh, I better be on time because they start on time. So that's number two. So you've got have an agenda, start on time, and the other one is finish on time. So finish on time because you've obviously got meetings you need to go to. So I always say, get to 3/4 and say, we're done 3/4. Let's just go through what it is that we've covered so far. Who's accountable to what? Who's doing what? By when? And what it happens is you end up with the fourth point, which is accountability. It's like, rather than do a meeting for meeting's sake, and it's okay to do brainstorming meetings. However, there should be outcomes out of even brainstorming meetings, so that as you come out the end, who's accountable? Rather than just a chin wag, rather than just a gab fest, come out the other side and make your meetings count by having the ability to actually say, did that get done? Did it get done on time? Did it get done to the point that you wanted to? So the 4 points are: start your meetings on time, have an agenda, finish your meetings on time, and make sure people are accountable from your meetings.
They're 4 great tips. And I think, having come from the corporate world, the amount of meetings I sat through that just went on and on and on, and we're just a gab fest. We're just a waste of time. And then, even if I think about it, with the 4 tips that you've given us around how to run meetings, I think they're really critical even for solopreneurs, because their time can get sucked up really incredibly when they're on a call with someone or they're on a planning meeting or whatever, or, coaching calls with client, whatever that may look like. And I think
Now
it's
we
really,
haven't discussed this, but I'll bring another one in, and that's boundaries. Being sucked in is a boundary issue. Hey, Nora, have you got 5 minutes? And you know that they're not going to take 5 minutes. They're going to take 25, half an hour, 3/4 an hour. That's a boundary issue. So you can actually say, now's not the appropriate time. Can we put that one to 3 o'clock? Can we put that in a calendar appointment? Or even, that's really important. I want to talk to you about that. Let's do it this afternoon at 1 o'clock. So it's a boundary issue so that you don't get sucked in. Or you can say to them, that's a really good point. That's not my area of expertise. You need to go and see Bob or Bill or Sally in that regard. So actually delegate it off to somebody else if it's not yours.
That's a really good tip, because it's, as I said, it's so easy for solopreneurs to get sucked into that area.
Yep.
Yeah. So when we're talking about teams and managing teams, and we've all got teams in some way, shape, or form, whether they be, an actual team that we work with consistently or someone that we may work with intermittently, what systems or tools can help us to manage our time better with our teams?
I would come back to the simple fact of having a productivity system. What's your productivity system? And it doesn't matter if it's paper-based or app-based, you need to have one system and you need to work that system. Now, as you can see by the gray hair, I'm not 21. And in doing so, back in 1985, the gentleman that gave me my leg up on awareness and productivity, his name was David Allen. He wrote the other good book on time management called Getting Things Done, or the GTD methodology. And he introduced me to this thing called a planner, a productivity planner, a diary planner. And it has two major sections to it, a calendar section in the front and areas of responsibility at the back. But what it enabled me to do was take control of my life and put things into practice that enabled me to reach my goals, which at that time I didn't have any. It's like, well, what do you want? 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 And I got to hone in what I want and then make tracks on creating what it is that I wanted in my life. And that happened out of a system. So as a solopreneur, entrepreneur, small business owner, all the way through to corporate, what are the systems that you're using for your productivity? Do you have a planner? And it doesn't matter if it's paper-based or app-based, but do you have one? Do you have one thing? And I was in an executive's office one day and he said, let me show you this. I've got this planner here. I've got a diary here, and I've got a notebook here, and a notebook here, and a notebook here, and a notebook here, and I've got an EAPA outside. No wonder I can't get anything done. I can never find anything. I don't know where I am. And every time I go to a meeting, I just pick up another diary or another notebook and go with that. So what happens is it becomes unmanageable. So to have a manageable system, have one. Now, I happen to use a Filofax or a Collins Debden 6-ring folder, and it works for me, and it has done. That's it. That's it. There, really, it's an A5, and it works for me. So you need to work something that works for you. Paper works for me because it sits right there. I'm on a stand-up desk, and it sits right there. All I need to do is look, and that's what I'm doing next. And whether that is paper-based or apps, the digital form is just as effective, but you need to use it. And I always say to people, don't fear falling off the horse. Don't fear falling off the wagon, because it's okay to fall off, then just get back on. Yeah, but I fell off a couple of days. That's okay. Keep going, because it took me quite a while to get into the swing of a system. But once you're there, it serves you really well. And I encourage people, it's like, give it a shot for 66 days. Why 66 days? Well, they did a survey that a habit, to make or break a habit, it was a range of 15 to 250 days, the average being 66 days. So it takes you not a month to break or make a habit. It actually takes you a couple of months. So give it a red hot go for a couple of months, whatever that system is for you. People say, but what's the best system? The one that works for you. Paper works for me. And as far as digital apps, there's as many as you can shake a stick at. So it's not a matter of the best one. It's the one that you work, and that will work for you.
Yeah, yeah, totally agree. I'm very much like you. I need to have something in front of me. I've tried to work with apps and that, and it just falls off the radar really, really quickly. Whereas if I've got my diary in front of me on my desk, it's visual. It reminds me by just being there. But as you say, different things work for different people.
Yeah. And I don't do the one size fits all. It just doesn't work like that, because even those people coming through and liking a digital world, they go, wow, this paper-based system works for me. And yet others go, I can't work with paper. I've got to have digital. And it's okay. Whatever works, just use the system that you have.
Yeah, great, great. So, I mean, one of the other big time wasters for me is email. So, what is the best practice for actually managing that email overload that we all probably experience and go through and battle with every day?
The love of email. People go, I hate email, but it's a part of our lives. The way to do email is 4Ds, the 4Ds, do, dump, delegate, and decide when. So as an email comes in, first thing you do is, if it can be done in under 2 minutes, just do it.
Mm-hmm.
The second one is, if it's spam or it's not yours, dump it. And it may be something you want to hold on to. You can archive it off. It's dump it into an archive. So do and dump. The third one is delegate. If that email is not yours and you can delegate it off to somebody else, delegate it nicely. Don't be slippery Sam and Teflon Tim and kind of nothing sticks to you. Actually, delegate it nicely with clear outcomes and timeframes. And the fourth one would have to be decide when. If it can't be done in 2 minutes, decide when you're going to do it and diarize it.
Mm-hmm.
So those four are do, dump, delegate, and decide when. When I'm working with a person, the example comes up that a guy called Dale, and he came to a public seminar and he saw you and me, my office on Tuesday. So I went there. I said, what's wrong? He said, come over here. And he showed me his email client. And he had 6,000 emails in his inbox.
Wow.
And it's not the worst. I have had a gentleman show me his inbox with over 100,000 in his inbox. So this particular gentleman, 6,000. And I said, well, there's your problem. But let me ask you, how many of those are relevant right here, right now? He said, oh, about 20. I said, great. Take the 5,980 and put them into a separate folder. You're not deleting them, you just put them into a separate folder. And when he did, he was left with 20. He said, oh, I can do 20 emails. And he got to the end of the day, did his 20, got to this thing called inbox zero. And the end result of that was he was able to leave work with a clear conscience, with no stress, going, I've done all my work. Got home and was the family man. Life was fantastic. Got in the next day, there were 7 emails in his inbox, and he was able to do. I met him about 3 years later, and I said, so Dale, tell me about your system. How's inbox zero? He said he never looked back. It was inbox zero all the way, and it works for him. So whether that's daily or weekly or monthly, bringing your email inbox back to zero works. And I've not met a person that say it doesn't work. It does work. And it's a struggle for some to get it daily, but you can do it weekly or you can do it monthly. Inbox zero, have a look.
That's a great tip. Thank you. And that would really help to improve our efficiency and productivity. So, how can we actually foster a culture of that within our team and within ourselves in other ways?
It's many and varied. The answer to this is many and varied. And I suppose it comes back to, what's the culture that you've got? Is it a culture around goals? Because having accountability around goals enables you to be focused on what's the most important thing. What's the most important thing? Someone once said, to keep the main thing, the main thing.
Mm.
So when you're looking at productivity, it's like keeping the main thing, the main thing. If I was only to get one thing done today, what would it be? and focus on that. And then once you've done that, you go, oh, tick that one off. I might go on to the next thing and the next thing and the next thing. Some people put 40 or 50 things on their to-do list, and I go, no, that's not where you want to go either. That's not what you want to do. You need to be putting things on your list that you know you can get done. And that should be 7 plus or minus 2 things in the particular day. Now, if it's 50 2-minute jobs, I can understand that. But normally the jobs that you're putting on your to-do list aren't 2-minute jobs. They are taking up time. And some of them are going to be 40, 50, an hour and a half, etc. So you know you're not going to get everything done. So don't put 100 things on your list every day and go, this doesn't work for me because I need to transfer everything. Well, that's not my fault. That's because you're putting too much on your list. Put on your list for the day what you think you can get done, and put things on tomorrow what you think you can get done tomorrow, etc., etc. So it's a matter of fostering productivity based on keeping the main thing the main thing.
And it's a really good, again, really good advice, because at the end of the day, if you've made that list unachievable, then you sort of backlog for the next day and you feel like you're just being defeated and you just not hitting the mark with anything and not actually progressing, and it actually brings you down, doesn't it?
Very true.
Yeah. Okay, so how do we actually incorporate that high productivity that we all really strive for with work-life balance?
Again, it is a matter of goals. So the work-life balance, and someone turned around yesterday and said it's life-work balance. And that tilts a lot of people. Where you go, well, what is it? Is it work and life, or is it life and work? Are we working from home, or are we living at work? And again, good question marks in the age that we live in, because of the simple fact that you used to go and be in the box and then come home, and now work is at home for a lot of people, particularly around solopreneurs, entrepreneurs, small business owners, where they're doing their small business out of their home. So I would say, again, it comes back to, how do you have balance? You look at the goals. And I have a particular model that I use, and it's been around for a long while, and that's your wheel of life. And I ask people, if you were to score yourself out of 10 on the wheel of life, 0 in the middle of the circle, round to 10 at the outside of the circle, on your level of satisfaction for each of these areas, what would that be? So that you're looking at work, and you're looking at health, and you're looking at social, and you're looking at spiritual, etc., etc. And I go through it, and once you've done that, you look at where your life, if it was a wheel, is it out of balance? And therefore you can set some goals up to get your life back in balance, because all work and no play makes Jack or Jill very dull. And based on that, just look at it from the standpoint of, I need to not just focus on one, but I need to focus on all of my life, and dedicate some time specifically to other areas, so that I'm looking at my finances on a regular basis. I'm being healthy in my exercise. I'm being healthy in what I eat. I'm being healthy in my relationships. I'm being healthy in my spiritual practices. Because we've all had circumstances and situations where we talk to people and they say, oh yeah, I used to do that. Well, what happened? Oh yeah, but and your butt gets in the road. So it is a way of just focusing back on what's important to enable you to get that balance of your life back.
Yeah. And we don't live, well, I don't live to work. I live to live.
Nice.
Yeah. And I think that's a good way to be, because I come across so many people that actually work is their life, and it's just so unhealthy.
Yep.
Very
good.
Getting off that wheel. So how can we measure our productivity and efficiency effectively?
Are you hitting your targets? It's like, are you having that wheel of life and measuring it based on every month? Is it working? Is it not working? But I always come back to peace. Are you in peace? Do you have peace in your life? because it's a major factor that a lot of people do not have peace. It's struggle, 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 stress, stress, stress. And I'm not saying that stress doesn't come up, but I don't live in stress. Another one, I don't live in drama. I decided quite a while ago that I wouldn't watch the news. And I used to be hooked. 6 o'clock, baby. I was there. I was in front of the idiot box watching this person give me what was bad about the world. And what happened was I ended up going down that, and so it became a focus. And I went, if I stopped that, what would happen? And I immediately had things to do. Like I wrote my book, I'm writing another book, I'm writing more courses, I'm doing more videos. So the opportunity is right there for you to do more in life if you take that out. But then that's part of the drama. Do you have drama around the people in your life? Do people in your life bring you drama? Do you hook into the drama? Do you hook into the drama of social media? Are you up in arms about X, Y, or Z based on the current situation in the world? Oh, yes, but, and I'm indignant about it. I was like, well, number one, is it your fight? Number two, has it been your fight? Number three, are you willing to go all in on that fight? If not, stop it and look at where you can direct your focus into what really matters in your life, either yourself, your family, your relationships, your community, to create an impact that way. And it is very much, I'm not saying be selfish with it. I'm saying notice where your energy goes, because if you do not have peace in your life, it becomes very hard to create good relationships.
Beautiful. And that leads beautifully into my next question. What strategies can help us and employees stay focused and avoid distractions?
Great question. I would think that boundaries, as I mentioned, the boundaries are a good one. Having a system to focus on what it is that you're doing, have your goals somewhere that you can see them. So I've got mine here on the wall. You can't see them, but they're right there. Like my goals are right there. It's like my goal by December 31 of this year is to do this, this, and this. I have my calendar. I recently went to my coach and I said, I'm all over the place. And they went, what about this, 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 and this? And I was able to come back on track. So I grabbed them, put them on a post-it note and put them straight there. I've got to do that. I've got to do that, and that. So I've got 5 things that aren't esoteric. They're not wifty-wafty. They're not in the clouds. They are practical things that I can go, I wonder what, Nairi, I wonder what I'm doing. And I go, and there it is. It's right there. So I can be focused just by looking to my left and go, yeah. Now, how many distractions do we have? Huge. Like this thing, the phone, the mobile phone, big distraction. Email can be a distraction. Relationships can be a distraction. But the phone and the social media can be a huge distraction where you go, I'm just going to check TikTok. And half an hour later, you go, I'm not getting that half hour back. Why did I do that? Or LinkedIn or Facebook or Instagram. It doesn't really matter what it is. But those distractions take you away from what's really important. So notice them. Become aware of what those distractions are for you and call them out and just go, whether it's television, whether it's social media, whether it's those things that you are indignant about, that you want to be all up in arms, but I want to yell and scream, but I'm not going to do anything about it. Those sorts of things that you kind of go, that's really interesting. I do that, don't I? And then you get to choose. And I'm not saying it's a have to. I'm going, what's your choice? The good book says you have life and death. My suggestion is choose life. And you can have peace or chaos. My suggestion is choose peace. And notice when peace isn't there. Because if the peace isn't there, you can actually call it out and go, maybe I might like to change that.
Very wise words. Very wise words. Peace is so important. Stress is one of the biggest killers in our society.
Yep.
And in more ways than one. So the more peace we can have in our lives, and as you say, calling those things out that are total distractions, it's just so important. So we actually get our lives back, because it's so easy these days. There is so much noise out there in the world.
Indeed, indeed. And it just gets more and more and more. And I was watching something yesterday and they were talking about the effects of the mobile phone and social media on anxiety, particularly around teenagers, so that they are anxious all the time about the things that are happening in and around them, their friends, their community, their society, the world. And it's all because once upon a time you had to go and buy a paper to find out what was happening in the world. Now it's in your pocket. It's in your pocket, it's on your desk, it's in your hand. So the opportunity to unplug, and my wife is a great one of telling me, you've got your phone in your hand again. And I go, oh yeah, you're right. So I have an external system to call me out on that. But sometimes we just need to call ourselves out on it. And there are apps you can put on your phone to actually say to you, no, now's not the time to do social media. 9 to 5 is not social media. Now, I'm not saying that if social media is your livelihood to stop doing social media. I'm saying that if social media is a distraction, then this is one of those times to actually call it out and minimize it.
So given for us that have got, say, remote workers, with all those distractions, how do you actually encourage them and support them to be productive in what they are doing every day?
It's a great question. And I will always bring it back to, if they are not around in the office and you can't see what they're doing, it needs to be based on KPIs. So I remember back in the day when I was working with my best mate and we were producing results. And if we produced the results that we wanted to produce for the day before lunch, we would grab our bags and our towels and exit for lunch. And the boss would say, "Where are you two going?" "We're going to the beach." "How come?" "Because we got our target for the day, so we'll see you in an hour." Now, it wasn't an hour and a half, it wasn't 2 hours, it was an hour, but we kind of went, that's our reward, we're going to the beach. So based on that, we were able to get those things done. Like our target for the day was done. Everything else was cream. And when you're looking at remote workers, the exact same thing is relevant. It's like, what are the KPIs that you want them to get done? And I don't mind if they do that in an hour and take 7 hours off. It doesn't matter as long as they get it done. What are the KPIs that you're measuring your external workers with? Can you quantify those? And it is a huge process to go through to quantify what they are. For some people, others, it's really easy. I need to get this, this, and this done. And therefore, in quantifying it, you can go, did you make it? Did you not make it? Did you hit it? Did you not hit it? Very easy. And yet a lot of people have not done it. So I encourage people, what are the KPIs? What are you satisfied with as an organization or as a business? And does that line up with the individual? Are they okay with hitting those targets on a daily basis? And it needs to be daily. It can't be weekly, because you end up getting to the end of the week and go, oh, it hasn't worked. It's like, well, hold on a tick. You had the opportunity to check in daily to see if you're on track, rather than being way off course at the end of the week. You actually can course correct at the end of the day. Now, you can go granular on that and go, what's it like on an hourly basis? And I will often say to people, do a time log of, go, where's your time go in your day? And write down every 15 minutes what you've focused your day on, or that 15 minutes on, so that you get a sense of where you are putting your time. Because you don't get it back. Once it's gone, it's gone. And you've heard it, Nairi. You've had people come out the back end and go, I have no idea where my day went. I just didn't get anything done today. And it's like, okay, I would do a time log on that. And someone said it to me, you need to do a time log. And I went, could be time to do a time log so that I get to see what those gaps are. So with with external workers, even with yourself, what are your KPIs? I have my own KPIs that I check in with my wife on a weekly basis to go, did I hit them? Did I not hit them? And I'm held accountable based on the KPIs that I've set for myself. And that's really KPI from key performance indicator. So for performance, what are the key performance that I need to do, and what indicates either a win or a lose, either success or failure?
Okay, so tell me, Les, if someone would like to talk to you and have a bit more of a conversation with you about what you do and how you can help them, and if you have any free offers or anything that our viewers can actually sign up for, would you mind just sharing those with us?
So you'll find me on all the socials as Get More Time or Les Watson, YouTube. There'll be Creating Success Coaching. And I do have something that as a giveaway, I've got 25 time tips, and I'll put those to you, Nora. You can be in the show notes, and just click on the link, put in your name and email address, and download them as an immediate download. That's the 25 time tips for busy people. It's free. It's my gift to you, and it covers a lot of what we've covered today, plus, plus, plus. So 25 time tips. And yeah, I'm happy to reach out, speak to anybody. I'm happy to help anybody. I've got a lot of giveaways. So if you're the sort of person that you go, Les, what do you got for free? Just reach out. Just ring me, email me, send me a message, and I'm happy to have a talk with anybody. And then on the other side, happy to do some corporate work as well. So please get in touch.
Okay, beautiful. Thanks so much for your time today and for sharing your expertise and all those wonderful tips with us, Les. It's been an absolute pleasure.
You're welcome. Thanks, Nari. Bye-bye.